in October. I've fallen in love with Elementor because it's made website building so simple. Um, and I love telling people about Elementor and how easy it is. So that's why I'm here.
Okay, who wants to go next? Just tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you.
Go next. Hi, I'm Dominique Calero. I'm from sunny Florida.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah, so the only positive thing about COVID is that these virtual meetups have really made it accessible. You know, you can join any kind of meetup group from anywhere in the world. But I am a graphic designer, and I started using WordPress probably about, I don't know, 2000 and I don't even know, maybe a good 8 years now, 9 years. But Elementor I stumbled onto probably around November, December of last year. And I've also love it. The whole control as a designer is just amazing. And I'm here just learning all kinds of things. I do work for an ad agency, but since the COVID, a good portfolio of our clients are retail. And of course, that's kind of, you know, going nowhere fast. So I'm kind of preparing. I've been freelancing here and there, and I definitely have been building websites now with
Yeah.
Elementor.
Well, it's an opportunity though, because a lot of those retailers, unless they're big ones, you know, particularly the smaller ones, you know, there's opportunities to sell stuff online. So
Yeah,
get your WooCommerce skills polished up, and
that's exactly what I'm here. I'm trying to get all polished up on Elementor as much as I can.
okay. Who else would like to introduce themselves?
Well, hey folks, my name is Ben Olmos.
Hey, Ben.
New to the group here, but I saw the thing for Elementor and I thought it would be fun to join. I've spent about 25 years now in the consumer goods industry and sales and marketing operations. Currently a business analyst for a winery. I was with Coca-Cola for about 20 years and then jumped into the wine business about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And also, you know, teach for 3 different universities, and then also have my own consulting business. So
You're a busy guy.
I was on Squarespace for a long time, and I wanted to, yeah, I'm very much a self-sufficient kind of person. So I dumped Squarespace, went over to WordPress, started hosting my own thing, built it out with Elementor, at least for my consulting site. And I love it, but always looking to learn more. So that's what brought me here.
Welcome. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I can go.
Yes.
Hey.
My name is Jean-Marie Biruka. I'm an IT technician. I'm a technician. I started doing a technical last year after graduating in information and technology. But I fell in love with web development, and I started trying to get some courses. And then one day they offered at my work, they offered me to build their website, which was in WordPress. I didn't know anything about it. And then I started learning how to do it. That's how I found out about Elementor. So I started using it since then. That's why I love to learn and learn more. And that's why I'm here and still continue to learn.
Well, it's good to have you again, John.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Gary.
Daddy, what are you doing?
Somebody else want to say hey?
This is Charles.
So I'm a graphic designer out of Gwinnett, well, for the next few weeks at least. I also volunteer for the WordPress Gwinnett meetup as well. We do branding and marketing. We do tons of websites, and we started using Elementor about a year ago. So I love feeling like a little bit of a developer to create some more dynamic pages than the typical WordPress layout. So just here to kind of brush up on some skills and learn some new stuff.
Yep, if you're a graphic designer, Elementor is very appealing because it's very visual. It's not like you're just coding and imagining what it's going to look like. You get immediate feedback and it's because when I years ago our family had a print business and I was the graphic designer for the print business. This is before there was the internet, and so that's kind of how I ended up getting involved in web development, but through graphic design. But well, welcome. It's good to see you, Caitlin.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, ma'am. Can't quite hear you.
No, actually, this is the gentleman.
Speak up,
Can you
Sherry.
hear me?
We don't have
You said-
audio on you, Sherry.
Okay.
Anybody else? Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I think it was my headphone was not cooperating with the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am a graphic designer as well. And yeah, you all had me at portfolio. I'm like, I'm looking for new ways to show what I do. And
Awesome.
I've been using Elementor for about 6 years.
Wow.
No, for 2 years, but WordPress for 6.
Gotcha.
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 Where are you from?
I live in North Georgia. I'm
Oh.
in Cherokee County.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Thanks.
The lady from Australia want to say hi to people? Let them know that we got somebody from far away.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm from Perth in Western Australia, and I actually work for a government agency that looks after all of our national parks and nature reserves. So I work in a field called heritage interpretation, but I love web design, and so that's sort of my side hustle, and I'm getting a lot more work than I can probably cope with at the moment. At the beginning of the year, or no, last year I've been using WordPress I made my first website about 12 years ago. Last year I was looking for something that I could create sort of template-based folio websites, and I discovered Divi, and I try to learn as much as I can. I happened to see a comment from somebody saying, "Why on earth aren't you using Elementor?" And I thought, what is Elementor? And as soon as I've discovered it, I just fell in love with it. So I've been learning as much as I possibly can. And one thing I love about it is the community. There's just so many excited, enthusiastic people out there, who are learning and very active online and willing to share, like this group. And that's one of the things I love about it.
Yep, there's a huge community around it. Was on a call with people who host these meetings a couple weeks ago, and there were, I think it was like 35 Elementor hosts. I think they call them leaders, and I counted as people were introducing themselves. There were people from 9 different countries, all over Europe. There was some from Nigeria. There was Middle East. Indonesia, so they're all over. So,
wow.
Okay, we're about ready to get started. Anybody else want to say hey before we get started?
Hi, Carrie. This is Charles. Can you hear me?
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Charles.
Okay. All right. Great.
We can just barely hear you though.
Okay. I'm sorry. I think it's something with my headset, but
There you go.
I discovered you guys a couple of months ago. I think maybe like April or May. But for whatever reason, when I would sign up, I never got the link to get on. So this is my first time. I've designed websites for a while, not anything major, just maybe more stuff for myself. And about 4 years, I got my first WordPress account. And probably about around Thanksgiving is going to make 3 years ago, I discovered Elementor, and it is the bomb. I love it. Okay, so I'm here today because I want to get as many nuggets as I possibly can. So, please share. And Miss Sherry with the fish tank in the background, I love it.
Okay. Anybody else?
I just want to introduce myself. Yeah.
Mark.
I'm coming at you from the Bay Area, wine country, California. And I've been working with Elementor only for a little while, but I've been developing websites since the mid 90s and working with WordPress most of the time that it's been around. Come at it more from the custom coding angle. So this is the first page builder that I've been really interested in because it seems like you can extend it with the custom code pretty well, and it seems like a good platform going forward. So I'm eager to learn as much as I can.
Yep, there's you may already know about it, but I think the URL is developers.elementor.com. Has a lot of information about how to extend Elementor with the code.
I've browsed through that, but I got to learn some of these basics. I'm still kind of getting around.
Gotcha.
I'm working on my first website with it right now, so I'm converting one of my other sites.
Where in the Bay Area, I used to live in Walnut Creek and then Benicia, California.
I'm a bit north of that. I'm just south of Santa Rosa, California.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey, I was in Santa Rosa for a little while when I moved out to work in the wine biz.
Oh yeah, well see, I have some winery clients and things, and I do a bit in Napa Valley and throughout Sonoma County.
Oh, we may know some of the same people.
It's possible for sure. Small area.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. How about we get this show on the road and I'll go ahead and start sharing my screen here. We'll kind of go through what we're going to talk about today. So, as we've been talking, it kind of goes without saying, welcome aboard to the Elementor online meetup for Gwinnett County. And let's see, we're going to run about 90 minutes. Everybody, well, not everybody, most everybody is using their video, which is cool because it helps us get to have a sense of who each other are, and it's good to see a face with a name. We are recording this session, and I'll try to get it posted online for you to refer back to within 24 hours or so. It kind of depends on how my Friday goes. I'm launching a website tomorrow, so it might be the weekend. But so if you're not speaking, try to keep your mic muted because you never know when the phone's going to ring or dogs start barking or buses go by, or depending on where you are. So, and let's see, page there. So we've kind of gone through the introduction and we're doing the agenda now. I'm going to just talk real quickly about some Elementor news, and then we'll go through and I'll run through kind of a quick how-to on building a filterable portfolio page with Elementor Pro. Thing that I've used this in different ways, not just this particular type of tool. There are other add-ons, plugins for Elementor that do this, but you can do it with Elementor Pro, but you can use it for team pages. You can do it for websites. We're going to do a demo of, like, if you're a web developer, all kinds of applications for it. And then we'll open it up to questions and answers. A lot of times, hopefully you brought some questions, or maybe some questions will pop into your mind as we're talking. And Brian and I and anybody else that, if you have a fair amount of experience, feel free to jump in and help answer questions. So, and then we'll start wrapping it up. So we've already done the introductions. Mention Elementor. As far as Elementor news, you may or may not have heard that Elementor Pro and Elementor, but Elementor Pro 3.0 is coming soon. It's a pretty major release. Beta version is available now. You can, if you have Elementor installed on your computer, I think in the settings there's a toggle thing that you can actually set it to where you can have access to the beta release. But you know, as I'm sure you've heard a bunch of times, don't ever use a beta release on a live website, because beta, you know, it's not ready for prime time. So a lot of times they're buggy and do weird things, but you can play with the beta version if you like. There's a link here that I'll put into chat in a second to there's a YouTube channel called WP Tuts. The guy does lots of Elementor type tutorials. He does a lot of different things, but he talks a lot about Elementor. He talks a lot about Elementor add-on plugins, so you can learn a lot there if you're interested. But this particular video is a kind of a first look review of Elementor Pro 3.0 beta version. So it might be worth a look if you're interested. And he particularly goes about, he's talking about the theme builder. And I've looked at the theme builder, what's coming, and it's more visual, and it prompts you one of the best things about it is when the thing that made me go over to Elementor was the fact that it got to the point where I didn't really need a theme anymore. You have to have a theme for WordPress to work, but you didn't need it to make your site work, because now they just have these, you know, Elementor makes its own theme called the Hello theme. Bare bones. There's several that are very popular using with Elementor. There's Generate Press. There's Ocean WP. I use Astra. They're for real lightweight kind of themes, because if you've ever bought a theme from someplace like iThemes or Theme Forest or whatever, a lot of themes, just to be marketable, to be able to be sold, you know, they kind of try to be all things to all people, and so their code gets kind of bloated, and it makes, you know, the pages take longer to load and that kind of thing. So the themes, when you're using Elementor, you just need it's just like a scaffolding to hang Elementor on, because with Elementor, you no longer need, you know, page.php, footer.php, header.php. You can create all of that in the theme builder. Plus, you can build,
Finally.
have a header that can be global, or you can have a
Emailed
header
someone,
that
they
just
sent me
shows
the
on
link.
certain
I never
pages.
got the link.
And so anyway, this new theme builder will, it starts out showing you the things, the basic theme parts that you're going to need, because sometimes you might not think, you might forget, oh, I need to have a 404 page set up, or I need to have a search results page set
Grab
up.
me a tangerine LaCroix, honey.
Let's see.
In there.
So anyway, so that's coming out. When you install it, it's always good if you have the ability before you update plugins to do a backup, because you just never know. And this is a major release, so don't just update it. Kind of go through your site, take a look around, and see if there's anything. Okay, so let's get to the next part of our.
Also, quickly, more toward that, there's a major WordPress release coming out.
See here. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go through a walkthrough of how to build a filterable portfolio page using Elementor Pro. And we'll also use a free plugin to help create a custom post type. I'll just quickly show you how that would work. So stop this and shrink this stuff down. And find my place here. Okay, first of all, we need to have a custom post type. And in this instance, the custom post type we're talking about is website. Let's see here. We'll go here. So this is the back end, my dashboard, and you'll see that I have a pages, a post. I've got websites. How did I get websites? Well, there's a plugin that you can get for free. It's called Custom Post Type UI. It's been around for a while. It's got a lot of installations, high ranking, and I found it very helpful. And simply what you do, and you install it, and you'll end up with this in your sidebar. You can click on this. And you can add a new, we got this on the top right here. Yep. We add a new post type. And in this particular instance, where we would have said a website is the new post type. Of course, this already exists. So let's say I'm going to say brochure. And I give a plural of it, say brochures. And singular, I can just cut that. Sure. And then I'll just populate the additional labels. Because when you have a post type, there's all kinds of instances, like for here it says all websites. Then there's places where it says add a website. It says, it appears in lots of different ways. So you can see it automatically populates this, although I don't want it to say my brochures. I just want to say brochures because that's what's going to appear on the side. And so you just populates all of this, and then you can go through and decide for your particular situation the settings about whether you want it to show in the front, be able to be put in the menus, and some more technical things than others. You can decide where you want the menu to go, where you want it to go in the menu position. You can click on this, and by a circuitous route, it will take you to this. This is in part of the WordPress reference, and it tells you if you use 20, it will put it below pages. And let's find our, here we are, which is under here. But you could, if I wanted to put something under websites, I could just say 21. And you can find your menu icons, like these icons here. These are called dash icons, or some people say dash icons. And that's a WordPress thing. And here you can choose from these different icons, whatever one goes with your particular post type. And you can pick one. Let's say you picked, so you pick that. Well, this is your, you copy this. This is a class for that particular icon. And then you'd go back into here and you'd paste that there. Oh, I didn't copy it, did I? Copy. And where did I go? I lost myself. Okay. And then that would help generate the icon over here. And then you can just, where it says the supports, you know how in your editor you have all the different things in the footer, or excuse me, on the right sidebar. You can have excerpts or custom fields, comments, revisions. You can, very often, I'll just limit it to title, the editor, which is the editing area, and the featured image. So, and then you can decide if you want to have categories or tags. And then once you've created your post type, you just add the post type and it will appear in the menu. But I'm not going to. And then you can go back and edit post types, and you can see how the website post type is set up. Just websites, and then it generates all these tags and such. And so you can check out this plugin, and it works really well. I've used it for a couple of years now, and that's the name of that icon right there. And I've put it in the 20 position, which is right under pages. So that's how we create the custom post type. But we need to manage something over here. Okay. So we got the post type. We need to create categories because we're filtering by categories. So I've got my websites, so I need to create categories. So I created 3 categories for our demo: business, creative, and startup. And then I created some mock-up pages for sort of like if you were to have a portfolio, a description of the website you built. And I did that with the theme builder. Need somebody there, okay. So to do that, we go to templates, theme builder, and I'm going to create a new single. What I do is, the way I would do is I create single, and let's see here. And I've lost myself. Add new up here, good. So I'm going to add a new single template, and I'm going to select the post type because I've created this new post type. Now I have a website post type, and I can name it whatever I want. And I'll say website demo 2, we'll do 3, so I've already, and we create the template. And you could, if you wanted to, you could import something from the library, or you could use your own templates. But what we're going to do is we're going to build it. What we have done is built it from scratch. Now, to save time, I've already done that. So I'm going to get out of this and go back into the theme builder and look at the singles. And this is our template for website pages. Now, it doesn't look like much, but the way this works is this will pull and populate from the, like when you edit a post or a page, you have the main editor. Of course, I'm still using the classic editor because in my mind, Gutenberg hadn't quite got to where it needs to be, but they're getting better. You have your editor, and you can have your featured image, you have your post title, and that's what we're going to use for here. Because if you look right here, you can see we've used post title. So what we did was we just drug post title, so you can do it again if you wanted to, over here, and then styled it. So whatever the name of the website post is, that name will appear here. This is the featured image. And we find that when we're doing a single, it puts it all stuff right up here. We just drag that over there. So, and then this is the post content. This area here, click on here, you'll see edit post content. The way that got there was just drug that over there. So that's our basic template for the websites pages. So let's go back to the dashboard. And then we can look at what an actual website page looks like in the editor. Because this is all this is all it is. I put my title in my, of course these are lorem ipsum text, but my content as I want it, and I select my category, and that's pretty much all I have to do. And I put the featured image, which is going to be what shows up in the portfolio page. So now let's create a portfolio page. So I'm going to go pages, and I'm going to add new, call it website portfolio. And then I'm going to choose the template as Elementor full width. For those that may not know, the difference between Elementor full width and Elementor canvas. Elementor canvas knocks out the header and the footer. Like if you wanted to do a landing page, you'd use Elementor canvas, where there's no header, no footer. It's all Elementor. Elementor full width allows you to have your header, which is created in Elementor with the theme builder, and the footer, which is created with Elementor in the theme builder. So right now we're just going to give it a title, give it Elementor full width, and we'll publish. Now I'll edit with Elementor. Okay, we've got this header up here. We built this, I don't know if it, Brian, if it was last week or excuse me, last month or the month before, but we did this. It's a sticky header. It's not going to stick right now because there's nothing on the page to scroll up. But so we went through on how to do that before. And so what we're going to be doing is we've added the new page, we've named it, we've picked the template, we've published it, and now we're going to edit it. So we're going to start out, we're going to build it from scratch. We're going to add a full section, which goes, it's not broken into, there's only one column, and I'm going to choose the selection, and always like to, and this is a tip that I got from Dave Foy. He's in the UK. He runs a business called No Stress WordPress, or Design Build. He has a really great Elementor course called No Stress WordPress. And I don't know if how much experience you might have in building Elementor websites, but you can start out, and people tend to want to start building out the look on a desktop. And then after they get the desktop all cool and nice, and then they go to tablet, it all gets wonky. And then it's almost like they have to build a website 3 times. Well, they're doing a few little simple things up front. It'll help make going from tablet to mobile much smoother. And one of them is when you add a new section, you put padding right and 20 and left 20. And in Elementor, as you set styles, it sort of flows down to the tablet inherits the desktop unless you change it, and the mobile inherits the tablet unless you change it specifically. So I always start with that, and I have the column is always is 20 pixels padding all the way around. Keeps everything nice without getting all crunched up. Now in this particular instance, we're going to add a little bit of extra padding on top and bottom because we're going to put our title in there. And I want to pick a background color. and I'm going to pick, to do the background color of a section, we go to Style, there's background type, this little paintbrush is for either color or you could use an image. We're going to use the same color as our footer, and going to close this here. See. Find my, here we go. Right there. Notice I used the post title for that. And we've got the columns for in padding and the section padding taken. Okay, so check this out, see if the, we're going to stretch the section on. And I'm going to set this text color, and to style it, going to make the color white. And I'm going to go to typography, and I'm going to leave it just as it is, default. I'll go to 46 pixels. That works out okay. And I'm going to lighten up the weight a little bit, make it 300. I think we're good with that. So I think we're now ready to add the section that actually is going to have the sortable or filterable portfolio. So we'll add another section, full section. We're going to do our little deal with the unlink the padding. I put 20 on the right, 20 on the left, and in the column, I'm going to make all of it 20. I do that every time. It's actually what I do is I create a little template. It's a section that has just a section that already has the 20 and 20 and the column inside that's 20, 20, 20. And in this, for this particular section, because this is pretty much going to be the whole content for the page, I'm going to add some extra padding at the top and some extra at the bottom. And so now we want to drop our portfolio widget in there. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to search portfolio. We'll just drag that right there. Okay. So now we're going to start working through how we're going to lay this out. We will go with 3 columns. We'll show 12 per page. I'm going to kind of go middle of the road on the size. What this does, like depending on your source images, you may have some large source images, and if you were to use really large source images here, they're not going to show up big here because your space is constrained, but it would take up a lot of load time for your page. So you want to try to find a good size that would work, bearing in mind that as this goes along, I'll show you this when we get to the responsive part of this, but that picture will grow or shrink depending on the viewport. So we've got the image size and 0.66 image ratio is kind of a default, but you can play with that. That's just the ratio of the height to the width. And this title tag applies to the title of the post. Of course, in this particular type situation, it's a custom post type. So now we go to query. What are we asking this portfolio to look for? Right now, it's looking for posts, and it's just all of the only post in here is the the hello world, which comes with WordPress. But we're going to look for websites. Oh, look at that! All those websites. These are every image here is the featured image that I showed you that we add to the bottom right in the actual website post page. And it's a good idea that when you're doing something like this to try to create the images all the same size. Unless you want to go with a masonry type look. So we've got that set up. So we got the query, we're using websites. We could, if for some reason, we could include or exclude things. Let's say for some reason we had, we only wanted to include certain categories. If you wanted to include certain categories, you could say term, and then you could start typing in the names of the categories. Like I have business, and you can add that, and see it limits it in that way. But we're going to have them all, so we're not going to use that part. You can order by date, by title. Can be random. You can order by date, and you can set a date range if you wanted to. Because if you're a really prolific artist, web developer, you might be knocking out 10 websites a month, and you end up with a page that has an infinite scroll. And so you can do that. You can order ascending or descending. So now we want to go to the filter bar, and we're going to turn that on. Boom. And nothing happened. Well, we have to just tell it what taxonomy we want to use. We want to use categories, or tags, or formats. We're going to use categories. Okay, so now we see we're starting to get something showing up here. So we got that. We got the filters here. We got the featured images. We got some rollover action going on. Now let's style this stuff. Let's put some space in between all these things. So I'm going to put 25 pixels here. That's the column gaps, and then the row gaps. We'll put 25 pixels there. You could, if you wanted to, you could make these have border radiuses. See how they get rounded around the corners. But we're going to stay with square. And then we have the item overlay. See how we go here? We have this green. That's the item overlay. We're going to pick a background color. We're going to stay with this theme of this kind of purple. But we're going to make it transparent. And I'm going to try to make it about, I don't know, 75 to 80% transparent. That's about right. Maybe a little bit more opaque. Okay, that'll do for now. And then the color is the text color of this. So we're going to set it for white. And then this typography is what this is showing up as. And so we're going to have the family the font family be the default for the way the Elementor is set up at this point. And we'll set the font size to say 28 pixels. We'll make it a little bolder. We can just go over here and see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. And so we got that going. And might do a little bit more. I think I'm going to make this uppercase. And I think I'm going to leave everything else alone. And let's see here. Then we're going to go to the filter bar, which is up here. And we're going to pick a color. I'm going to pick this dark purple as sort of the active link color. And then, or excuse me, the link color. And then when it's active, I'm going to make it red. And the typography, which controls the look and feel of those fonts, will make it, say, 20 pixels. And we'll make the weight 600. And I think we'll leave just transform. We won't do anything. We won't mess with the style or decoration. We'll, I think we're good there. And then the space between, I'm gonna leave it at the default, but what that does is spreads things out, tightens them up. So I think, so now we've got everything. One of the things I like about the Elementor Pro, some of these portfolio things, when they have the sorting thing, the sorting feature, when you press the category, just all of a sudden just goes, it'll maybe have something that spins and then all of a sudden go boom. This has a nice fluid feel to it. And I like that. So, okay. So now, let's not forget about responsive. So this is what it would look like on a desktop. But let me move this up so I can see it. So we're going to go to responsive mode to preview in other devices. So if we go to tablet, it still looks pretty good. You can see our sticky header in action up there. It still looks pretty good. We've got 2 columns going, still works. So I don't think I'm going to do anything to that for the tablet. Let's see, because we did those, the padding that we talked about for the sections and the columns, we don't really have to screw around much with fixing that because it's all nice and spaced out, got plenty of room. One interesting little tidbit, if you get your stuff too close to the edges or too close together, Google will ding you on your search results. Because websites I build, I have hooked up to what they call Google Search Console, and it evaluates your website. Of course, about a year and a half ago, it might have been even 2 years ago, it's been a while, Google started ranking websites based on their mobile version. And that's largely because more than half the traffic in the world on the internet is done on mobile. So mobile is real important. So if Google likes you to have space, and it makes sense because when you're using a phone, some of us have big fingers, and if everything's all tiny and close together, it's kind of hard to use. So it's about usability too. So this looks pretty good on a tablet. Let's see what we got on the phone. Okay, so now we go down to 1 column. This part looks good, but this needs some work. So let's adjust. Probably all we need to do is adjust the font size. So I'm going to change the font size here to 36. And you can tell in Elementor if the thing that you're changing is for responsive, because it will show that this is for mobile. Now see, the weight doesn't have that little icon there. So if I change this weight, it'll change it for all. Change it for desktop and tablet too. So that, I think that works. So I'll go back to desktop and let's update. I could just update it. Well, let's go ahead and just show. We'll see what happens here. See, I've updated it. Oh, I was thinking of a template. I'm doing it right. I was waiting to say it's display conditions, but it doesn't apply to this particular because we're actually building a page. Okay, so now we've got a page. We need to hook it in. I've got an item in the menu that says portfolio, but it's not hooked in anywhere. So let's get out of here and return to the dashboard. I'm gonna go to menus. And here's my main menu, and now I have this portfolio page. So I'm going to click, check it, add it to the menu, slide it up here. I'm going to take out the website for now. Close that up. And this one that just had a placeholder, I'm going to remove that. Save. And we'll take a look at the front end. Okay, so here is our filterable portfolio page. And what we do that in 15, 20 minutes, Brian? It's not hard at all. Of course, you have to set up the pages, but as we see, they're not terribly complicated. You can make them as complicated or as simple as you want. Got a nice featured image, which is the page. You can have multiple images if you want. And all this is built in just a classic editor. And this is part of the template. So, and then you could go crazy with it if you've ever used advanced custom fields. You could do other stuff, but that's for another time. So there you go. And,
wow.
And this is being recorded, so if I went too fast on some of this, the settings and stuff, you can go back and take a look and see what was what. But I think now it's how are we doing on time, Brian? I think we're doing okay.
We're at 8 o'clock, 7:55.
Okay, so now's about the time where we kind of open it up for questions. It doesn't have to. It can be about something we talked about here, or if you're working on an Elementor project and you have some questions with something you can't figure out, now's the time to ask, or maybe something that you've wondered about.
Harry, I have a question.
Go right ahead, Susan.
Yeah, so I've worked in this as well. And one thing I sometimes get mixed up on is if you click now on one of these post thumbnails, just click on that one.
Okay.
So take you to a single post page. Wouldn't you be styling that as you would create that page in Theme Builder so that you know what I mean? Because it's not a blog post, you're making a specific look. So wouldn't you need to create that for each?
Yeah, you might have joined us late.
Yeah.
We kind of went through that. What we
Okay,
did.
I apologize.
No, that's fine. As I said, this is being recorded, so you can go back and look. What we did is we created a custom post type, which is websites.
Yeah, I saw that.
And we did it creating with let's see, this particular plugin, custom post type UI.
I saw that. My question was more about when you go into like the Theme Builder to create, you have an archive page and then you have a single post page for each of those. I didn't know if you had done that or.
You'd be actually designing a portfolio template page or a portfolio.
Right, but what I understand, I think what is it Barbara? Is that was saying? Let's go into the Theme Builder. It's under single, and we're using this one.
Oh, you see, that's what I'm curious. Can we just see what that looked like?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. So what I've done here is it's not complicated. Doesn't look like much, but we have, like when we were creating the page, we created the sort of the title bar and but instead this, if we go over here, it's the post title. And the way we find that is go here, because we're creating a new single. Because we're creating a new single template, it pops the pieces of a single template to the top. And so we just slid that right in there. Of course, then I styled it.
And then underneath, is that the post content, or did you also have to add the featured image?
This one here is the featured image.
What's the text under it?
Carrie,
This is the post content.
Carrie,
Yes?
it might be
Okay.
easier to understand if you went down to the settings and let it preview as one of your websites.
Right.
Okay, yeah, okay. I hear what you're
It's
saying.
just picking up the post.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
There you go.
That way we can preview one of them just as an example.
Yeah.
Right, so then it'll populate it with that particular.
Yep, so we have our post title, our featured image, and this is the post content right here. And so all we have to do when we add a new website to our portfolio, we just we have the websites, all websites, and we just add a new website, and all that really is in it. We have the title, our text content. Of course, we could drop images in here too if we wanted. Pick the category and set the featured image. And this is a real simple example, but that's pretty much all you have to do to populate this. And that's pretty much it. Does that make sense?
What if I wanted my posts or my images in a particular filter to open up in a light box? I don't want it to go to a post type. I just want it to be a light box that's just showing a bunch of pictures in a category.
So describe the circumstance under how that might take place.
Well, let's say if you go back to your portfolio view.
Yeah, give me a sec here.
So, so let's say you filter business, right? And so now you're showing me, 5 pictures of businesses, but what I want to really do is click into business and then have them pop, instead of seeing all of the pictures laid out in a grid, I just want it to open up into a light box, and then I want to filter through all these pictures.
Well, these are all websites, but that's not what this does. So
You're looking for a custom post that's in a gallery.
Yeah.
That's another.
That's what she's looking for.
You might be able to do that in a pop-up. Do like a slideshow, slider.
You could do
images in a pop-up.
You could do that's right. You could do a pop-up and create a section that is could be a slideshow. It could be an image carousel, and then put that section inside a pop-up.
Would I still be using custom types though, or no?
Well, it depends. You could do it. No, you could have if it's just pick images. If that's what you want, you could.
Right. So it'd be a gallery light box that's being filtered. Like, let's say I just want to show all logos, and I want them to pop up, and then people can just filter, or, slide through a carousel.
You could create a gallery with just logos, and then create an image carousel using that gallery, and save it as a section.
How would she filter it then?
That would be a different thing.
Carrie, if you want, I have an example of that. I could maybe.
Sure. Why don't you?
I'll share my screen if you. I'm not sure. It sounds similar to what she's going for. This is. Hang on. Let me share my screen. And I'll see if this is what you're talking about. Because it's something I've been doing. Oh, somebody else is. You have to stop sharing, I guess, Carrie.
Yep, go ahead.
Let's see if it helps. Okay, so this is a sneak peek. This is actually my website that I'm in the middle of redesigning. This is the portfolio page. Hang on, so this might show you, because this has the filterable tabs. I mean the filter, right? So here's like everything.
Mm-hmm.
So then, if you only want to show logos, and then you click on each one of these and it goes to, is that what you're asking, or am I wrong about that?
No, yeah, like yours are still going to an actual post rather than a gallery.
She wants it to pop out as a light box, and you can just
Correct.
through the light box. It just popped up, and then once you close the light box, it goes away.
So maybe instead of each of these being posts, there's some kind of filterable gallery that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you seen an example of that? That would be interesting to see on the web if you've seen something.
Delmar, you have any ideas on that?
Let me see if I can find this, an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I was just thinking about it, just trying to figure out how you would achieve that with current tools. Seemed like that would be a third-party custom filter, but it's the light box thing that's kind of
well. There maybe this is. Let me see if this website's still around. I built this a while ago. See, is this what you're talking about? Where you have, of course, it's not move. This isn't moving. This is just, and this is pretty old.
Rather than trying to figure out how to filter a gallery, I would step back and maybe do a little sub menu of categories, a list of categories, and just have those, you know, be what you're calling out what's the filter menu. It's really just a little sub menu.
Mm-hmm.
So I would do that and just have each of the links do your pop-up or your carousel or whatever based on category.
Or what you could do is you could create, let's me get to back to the dashboard. Let's say a new page. New, let's call it, I don't know, what are we going to call it? Slideshow portfolio.
Is there any reason why you wouldn't use a gallery plugin to do that task that allows you to filter instead of doing it the way that we've seen today? Because EnviroGallery has a filterable function.
But I think it's the pop-up, the light box, I think is the issue. Because you can use any gallery and filter a gallery, but when you click on that filter, that category, she wants it to be a light box that pops up, which allows you to scroll through. So it's that intermediate step of the light box popping up before you see, what's being filtered or what's been filtered for that category that she's looking for.
Right. So you'd have to go through a number of steps, but you could have some kind of image to represent your category if you wanted.
I wonder if there's an add-on or a plugin for that.
Oh, very possibly. So you could make these clickable, and then outside you could have created a particular kind of gallery, and save it to a section, and then create a pop-up and put that section in the pop-up, and then link the pop-up to one of the, each one of the, you'd have different pop-ups linked to each image. Well, it kind of would work something like that thing I just showed you, except those were just static images. You could have an image carousel. Let's see. Like an image carousel. Let's see. This is a site I'm working on right now.
Can you share your screen, Carrie?
Oh, that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Here we go. No, that's not it. We're getting power surges here. Well, let's see here. Share. Log in. Let's see here. Partner programs, with Elite. Okay. Like this is just a carousel, and then you could have this as saved as a section, and then have that inside a pop-up, and then have the pop-up linked to the image. Would that address what you're trying to do? Okay.
But how would you dynamically, the thing is, how would you dynamically display based on the filter? So you click on that category, when you put this pop-up up, that one takes a little thought.
Yeah.
I guess you can pre-filter the pop-up, the gallery.
You'd have to create your gallery ahead of time.
Yeah, like for instance, I have a photographer client that basically wants to show catering,
right?
Then weddings. So basically, if I have that would be the filter. It would be catering, wedding, lifestyle, and then when you click on, let's say, catering, you're going to cycle through all of the food images.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what you can do is that you can kind of make a dummy link. The filters on the front end, the categories will link to a template or pop-up that's already pre-filtered, right? For lifestyles or for weddings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you click on it, it launches a pop-up, right? A modal pop-up is what you're talking about, right?
Well, it'd be a light box within.
Light box, yeah. Or yeah, they call it modal light box. So that will, but not a single image, but a group of images is what you're asking.
A gallery, right? A gallery.
A gallery. So you would create a template with that gallery created that's pre-filtered for, say, catering, right? And then once you go on the front end, once you click on the catering link, that pre-filtered modal pop-up or light box will pop up with the pre-filtered content. And that content would always be dynamically displayed because that particular gallery is only searching for catering categories.
Yeah.
So that's how that will work. But your filters on the front end would have to be sort of static, right? You have to create that particular link, which is really not a filter anymore. It's just a link, right? And then once you create that link, it will launch that particular template in a modal window, which will be a gallery that's pre-filtered for that particular category.
Okay.
But to be,
could I don't know, something you just said sparked another idea. Could I make a custom post type that my featured image would be, let's say, the cover of the thumbnail, but then I create an image gallery within that custom post type.
So
So
you
now,
just create an image, right? Just an image, right? So there's, you know, you can do a modal pop-up, and just, instead of creating a custom post type, just make that image link to that particular gallery or that template. You know, I would create a template, right?
right.
With that gallery that's pre-filtered for that particular link.
Okay. Okay. I think that might work.
What about
Give it a try.
So when you're looking for like plugins, you know, look for the modal pop-up, right? I don't know, what theme are you using?
Nope, no theme. Nope. I'm building it from scratch up. So I'm trying to avoid obviously any, you know, I'm trying to use whatever Elementor has, and obviously using some sort of custom field if that's what's needed.
Yeah, so I would just use in Elementor Pro, using Elementor Pro, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I would just use the pop-up feature and just link it to one of those templates that has a gallery that is pre-filtered.
Okay.
And yeah, as he adds photos and he assigns a category to those photos or makes a post. I don't know what he's doing, just a gallery or a post or what?
It's just going to be galleries. So it's just a bunch of images. So when you land on that portfolio of his, he wants to show, like I mentioned, catering, lifestyle, weddings. But then when you click on weddings, you know, all that light box will open up and it'll go through the gallery of just the wedding images.
Yeah.
And when you click on catering, you're going to filter through all the catering food images.
And what is he using to hold his photos? Like, is he loading all the photos on the website or?
Yeah, I guess he's looking to me to come up with a solution for that. So that's why I'm like, should I make it a portfolio with a custom post so that gallery is coming up through the portfolio and opening up as an image gallery, or that's kind of where I'm stuck.
So he's not using like Smug Mug or anything like that?
No. I think he's going to give me a handful of items for each category.
Okay, so it's not going to be everything. Okay.
Right. Yeah, it's only going to be like, let's say 7 images per category.
Oh, that's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie, when you use the plugin and you're defining that post type, and can you hear me all right?
Yes.
And when you're defining that post type, the post type that you created had a main image, it had paragraph text. At that level, could you change that to, instead of couple paragraphs, could you just make it pull up a gallery instead of, or are you stuck with that? You know, you created a specific post type for this example, but
Right. Well, you could let's walk through what you just said. Because this particular the post type we're using today is we're just adding something out of the editor, but in the appearance, you could probably do it with if you used advanced custom fields. I mean, almost. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but almost all. It seems like almost all things can be solved with that advanced custom fields sometimes.
If you set the custom post type websites to use Elementor as its editor, then you could put galleries easily into the content area. You could just put an Elementor gallery in there.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't go to a static.
I would go to ACF as well. That's my go-to, but you could do it just as well through Elementor, I think.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
If you did that advanced custom field and made that a gallery though, that's nice and easy. It gives you that additional field on each one. That'd be a good thing to demo.
Okay.
Yeah, it you know, you could use repeater fields and just add images and images. But
yeah, that way each post has its own little like gallery field, and you just collect your photos and stick them in there, and they all show up.
Well,
Yep.
it's just as easy to do that in Elementor in a layout.
Yeah.
And then you don't have another piece, you don't have another premium plugin to deal with. Unless you need it for something else.
explain how you're thinking about that, Diana.
Well, first set up your custom post type so that Elementor can edit that post type.
Right.
In the settings part where it says Elementor is on posts and pages, add websites to that.
Right.
And then when you go to your website, click on Edit with Elementor. And right there, you can add a gallery.
Gotcha.
And Elementor
What you're
gallery.
saying is, here's my website.
We can't see your screen, Carrie.
Yeah. I get to talking and let's see here. Okay. So there you go. Let's see.
Yeah, go over to Elementor settings.
Talking about over here?
Yeah. Right there. Click check websites.
Oh, and under post types. Post types.
Under post types.
Over in the middle
types.
where it says post types.
Go down.
It says post pages, website.
Oh, I got you. Gotcha.
There you go. Now when you go to your website, you can edit them with Elementor.
Yep. Okay, so absolutely right. You could make each one completely different, completely unique if you wanted to.
Right.
And add a gallery in this case.
Does that make sense, Dominique?
Yeah, I think that might work.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. See?
A lot of heads.
Collectively, we're much smarter than we are individually.
Individually.
Well, let's all give ourselves a break. It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
Everybody except Lorna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Diana. That was a juicy little nugget right there.
Yeah, that was good. Thank you.
Yeah.
What about the pop-up part of it?
Oh, well, the image gallery does have the option or the styling option to open up in a light box.
Yeah, it does.
Yes, exactly. You don't need a pop-up.
Right.
Good deal.
Awesome.
Okay. So. Any other questions?
Carrie, can I ask you to re-explain? You know, when I use Elementor, I always use the Elementor canvas, and I couldn't figure out why you would use the full width instead. And you sort of said it quickly, but I'm not understanding the.
Okay. Well, let's look at this. Let's create a new page.
Share your screen, Carrie.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so we'll create a new page. And I'm going to, first of all, let's say we'll do it with full width. And I go to edit with Elementor. You see I have a header and we have a footer. Now if I go back, oh shoot, get this out of the way. My Zoom things are in the way.
Oh, and then the canvas just doesn't have the header and footer.
Then, well, basically what it happens when you go to Canvas, you have header and footer go away. So now let's look at the page. See, no header and footer.
Okay.
And
yeah,
this can.
yeah, that's right. I guess I've always, for each page, I've always ended up having to manually add
for every page. Really?
Template header or template footer. Well, so far I haven't done very large websites.
Wow.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So that's one of the awesome things about Elementor is we can, with the theme builder, is we can, we built, like, let's go templates, theme builder. We create the header as like but we're just creating this part, and we create that, save it as the header, and then we set the conditions, which basically you can say I want it to be on the whole site. Let's see, dashboard, or on particular pages, and then you can create the footer, and that can go all throughout the site, and you don't need a theme for that.
Yeah, and I just realized that one of these last meetups, I was doing in templates what I should have been doing in theme builder, which is some of these of course, these site-wide elements I was putting in templates. And then,
it saves you a lot of time. And
a lot of time.
Where a lot of people use the Elementor canvas is when they're doing landing pages, when like they're pushing a product or they've got something that it's a sales page basically, and they don't want anybody distracted by the links across the top of the page. They don't want this just their content, so you can just do the canvas. Or like if you did, I think you might have seen when I was going to that website that's in development, a custom login page, use Canvas, Elementor Canvas for that. So when I first started it, I don't remember how long ago they enabled that, but when it first came along, I thought, what the heck's the difference? But that's the difference.
Yeah.
So,
that was my moment right there.
Yeah. So, okay, looks like we got about 5 minutes left.
I've got a quick question that
You betcha.
maybe someone could help me with. So I'm just getting started, like I say, in kind of building my own site, and I'm also moving a client site over from, a really old one from Dreamweaver that I've been helping manage their edits for into Elementor. And this site's only like 5 or 6 pages, but each page is very unique. In fact, each page is a little bit more like a home page. It's got, a lot of rows and sections and a lot of intricate content going on. The client would like to be able to edit it. So I was going to set them up with an editor role. But my question is, since the pages are so different, should I just have them edit Elementor on each page, or should I build a template specifically for each page? And would it be?
And people feel free to jump in if y'all have a better thought on it. If they're all different, then might as well build them each without, as an individual page.
Mm-hmm.
Where the theme builder can come in, or there's also global elements but if it's different on every page, then that's the theme. If there's the headers are different, the footers are different, or if they don't even have headers and footers, then you just build it each one individually in Elementor as a page.
Or,
Like
or I
you said,
guess,
And
if-
also,
you say when the content is different on each page, is it that the header and they don't have the same header and footer?
the header and footer are the same, so I'll deal with that in Theme Builder so that the header and footer are standardized. But when we
Right.
get to the content area, there's actually one piece that is typically the same on each page, which is kind of like the hero graphic, has the same style. So maybe what I should do is make a template that just includes the hero graphic, and then for the content portion of the template, have that fed by the page, and then
What you could do is have the hero graphic be your featured image.
Yeah.
That page, so that then it would automatically just pull the featured image for your hero graphic, and then you could put in your content. And that way, you could actually edit the page without having to get into Elementor if you developed a.
Well, they'll need to get into Elementor because it'll have a lot of things going on the page.
Okay.
So with the editor role though, they'd be able to do that, right? Like, I mean, they
Yep.
should be able to manage, the change of text, swap out a photo.
Yeah.
well, one thing to keep in mind, Mark, is that Elementor has a thing called Role Manager.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, depending on your client, depending on how much power you want to give them, you can relegate them to only being able to change content and not being able to move things around or change colors or destroy the site, essentially.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about trying to see.
Yeah.
I think that way they'll be able to edit more of the stuff themselves, but there'll still be some things they'll want me to do so they don't mess
Sure.
everything up.
But you don't, in Elementor, it's really easy to just drag and drop things and completely destroy a page if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So I rarely let clients have that much control over their pages. Usually I just let them control the content, and they can change the words and swap pictures all day long, and they're happy.
Yeah, that role manager really looked good. That's what I intend to try on this one. So hopefully gives them
Just
enough
lock your
control.
templates. Don't let them touch your templates.
Well, that's actually a question. Let's say that there was something in the template that is across. Let's pretend there was like a subfooter that had some text in it, and let's say it is used across all the templates. If I use a role manager and they're an edit and they have an editor kind of role in there where they can change content, can they change the content to a template or only content within pages?
I think they can change both,
Okay.
but only content.
Okay, good, excellent. That's perfect.
Can I try to be respectful of people's time? About time for us to close down, but I'm wondering if I'd like to take a quick moment. Elementor likes to get a sense of who's coming to these meetups, and I'm going to pop up just a real quick 3-question poll. If you could answer the questions, and I'll start it up now, and then because they ask about, they want to get a feel for who is using it. Okay. And I'll show you the results in a sec. Once I'll let it go for a minute.
You don't have an unknown answer for number 2 or an I don't know.
Okay.
So I guess I'll put no.
A few more seconds here.
Say, Delmar, are you in a library?
Me?
No, I'm in a virtual library.
Oh, very impressive.
Yeah, the wall behind me is blank. It's like my desk sits in my office. It's a corner desk, and behind me is just a blank wall. So I need to put pictures up. Before COVID, I didn't care what was behind me. So I need to put pictures and stuff up. So it's just like a blank wall. So I just put this up to make it more interesting.
Okay. Can y'all see the poll results?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you all able to scroll it up down by yourself, or do I have to do it?
Yes. No, we
Okay.
can.
That we can see it.
So always kind of interesting. Very different from usually we have a lot of site owners and entrepreneurs. This time it's more designers, developers. It's interesting.
Well, I actually fall into the entrepreneur site owner category too, but you could only choose one. And so I chose marketer because that's my first priority every day before my own business.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
same with me. I did 2 categories also, and so I figured whatever I'm working on at the moment will roll.
Yeah, I got you.
A quick question for all the designers. This was, I was at another Elementor meetup this morning about ACFs actually. And this was, I just wanted to know each person's process. Are you still doing like Photoshop to cutting up images and then bringing everything into Elementor? Are you using XD for design? What's your process? I'm just trying to get a feel for what everybody's doing.
Well, I believe in designing in the browser myself, but I do process images in Photoshop and stuff. But I mean, there's different schools of thought. You know, people do mock-ups and you know, all the different, and some of those probably are more applicable and more appropriate when you're doing apps where you do the mock-ups and you do the flows and all that kind of stuff. But it seems to me it's making the job much more complicated because I'm building a site that I was provided with Photoshop layouts for every page. Mm-hmm. And it takes me 25% longer time to try to go in and reproduce what they have than if I'd have just built it from scratch. So, but looks like our time is up. I really appreciate everyone showing up and participating. And really y'all had a lot of really great input. And I hope to see all of you again next month. And y'all have a safe rest of the evening. I don't know where it's like here, or like there, but here it is pouring rain and thundering. So maybe you're in a sunny.
Hopefully it's not headed this way.
Hopefully you're in a sunny, nice place. So y'all have a good night. And Lorna, you have a good morning.
Lorna.
And we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks a lot.
I'll post the recording of this in
Bye,
the next 48 hours.
Thank
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye-bye, Curry.
Great evening.
Bye. See you later.
Bye.